Good afternoon. I'm First Warn 5 Meteorologist Mike Nicco. Hope you're having a great Monday. It's a typical Monday out there. It is warm, it is sticky, the sunshine, a little bit more than we had over the weekend. And what I really want to focus on, I don't want to skip over today, but we've got a First Warn Weather Day. That's our highest designation for the chance of impactful weather, and that starts tomorrow. So let's get right into the specifics of that. And here you go. Let's take a look at what to expect from Tuesday's storm chances. And the first thing you want to know, there's a small chance in the morning, and there's a better chance in the afternoon and evening, and another chance during the overnight. Yeah, we could get hit possibly by 3 different waves of strong to possibly severe storms over about a 24-hour time frame. All right, let's move on and talk a little bit more about what to expect. The risk of severe is increasing. We're definitely growing a little more confident that we're going to see that. And everything's on the table. Now, it depends on which storm, which one of these we will highlight more. And of course, I'll talk more about that in just a second. And we can't leave the last one off there because that could be the most widespread impactful part, is the heavy rain that's going to cause some flash flooding. So right now, you can see there's a 2 that does move up to the Kansas border, Missouri border, right on the river, and then spills into Cass and Bates counties in Missouri. And that is where we're going to see the best chance for discrete storms, the possibility of storms that are out there by themselves that have the ability to take all the energy they can muster that's out there and turn it into severe weather. Now, it's going to be along a warm front. We know along a warm front there tends to be a little more rotation in the atmosphere, so this would be the better chance tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours of a tornado coming out of one of those discrete storms. It's also the better chance, because the updraft is going to be rotating and stronger, that we could have some of the larger hail. This will not be the flooding potential, not with the first round or second round that comes in. It's more for the overnight hours into Tuesday and Wednesday. So that is a look at what we're dealing with. That's the upgrade today from the 2 to a 3 on that scale of 1 to 5. Now, as we go into Wednesday, it's really going to depend on what happens Tuesday, where the severe weather risk ends up. Right now, a 2 across our southeasternmost counties, a 1 you see in the green, which is kind of our middle counties. If you go from Interstate 35 corridor, that would be one of the best ways. A northwest Missouri likely out of it, and that's because the cool front that's responsible for the last round of storms, that's going to push to the south. How far it pushes to the south will depend on where the next round of storms erupts Wednesday afternoon into the evening hours. That will be a whole separate system from the one we're really talking about, the couple that are coming in for mainly Tuesday and Tuesday night. Okay, so there's a distinction between that round and the round that will develop Wednesday afternoon into the evening hours. So, all right, let's talk about today, because we're setting the table for what's going to happen. It's 81. Look at that humidity, 65%. It feels like 84 outside. Yeah, it is definitely steamy out there. And temperatures in the low to mid 80s everywhere, on our way to the upper 80s this afternoon, with heat index values in the upper 80s to low 90s. All of that haze you see out there, that's just humidity. There's a touch of ozone in the air, which we get this time of the year. That's why our air quality is going to be moderate for the rest of the day. Evening activities, well, it's going to be pretty warm if you're doing anything outside. 85 at 5 and 6 o'clock to 83 at 9 o'clock. Even at 9 o'clock, the heat index values will still be in the mid to upper 80s, but at least the sun will be down by then and it won't feel quite as warm on you. All right, so here's what we're tracking. First Warn Weather Day Tuesday. Highest distinction, the one we want you to be most alert about and most aware of what could happen. Those discrete storms, the individual storms, the round that comes in Tuesday afternoon into the evening hours, all hazards on the table. There's the last round that comes in Tuesday night into Wednesday. Wind will be the greatest threat, but a spin up of a tornado is possible. Some hail is also possible, and then the rainfall is the last one. Up to 3 inches is possible. That's why flooding is such a concern, and it's going to be likely when it's dark outside, and that'll make it even harder to navigate around. So if you're one of those that has to commute or has to be somewhere before the sun comes up Wednesday morning, remember those areas where water tends to pool those low-lying areas that flood faster in other areas, that's what you're going to run into Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. All right, so let's take a look at future radar. This is the HRRR, the high resolution rapid refresh. I think it's got the best handle on what's going to happen. Over North Platte, there in western Nebraska, a cluster of storms is going to fire up in the afternoon, and look at it marching its way towards us. But it's going to find an atmosphere over us that's just not as conducive for that severe weather, so it's going to be decaying. It's going to be weakening as it moves in during the morning commute. Is there still going to be some showers around? Yeah. Could they be strong? Sure, you could be dealing with that, especially south of Highway 36, and even more so south of Highway 70, or Interstate 70, I should say, in Kansas. You can see some yellows and oranges in there. Now, that's the first wave. That one, it concerns me because it comes in during the morning commute, but the impacts from that are below severe level. Now we've got a warm front that's lurking to our west. That could get active in the afternoon, and notice those cells are a little bit more individualized as we head into the evening commute Tuesday. That's when we have the best chance for the hail to be bigger, for the winds to be a little bit faster, for a tornado more likely to happen. Now, you saw that 3 bumped right up to where you're seeing some of those storms, right in the heart of Kansas City, Kansas, Overland Park, Olathe, Lenexa, Shawnee, Mission, all the way up to Leavenworth, Bonner Springs, DeSoto, and Atchison. So you need to be really aware of what's going on tomorrow afternoon. Of course, you have our app. We'll continue to update all of that. Biggest, strongest storms are going to be developing in central Kansas. That's where the threat is the greatest for even 2-inch hail and tornadoes. That eventually turns into a line that you can see. Now, we know when a line of storms comes through, usually if it bows out, you know, it has that little bit of an arcing to it, which you're seeing here to a certain extent. Winds could be the dominant factor out ahead of the actual storm, the gust front. And along that leading edge of the storms is where we get that spin up. Think back a couple of weeks ago when Warren and I were covering severe weather on that, God, what day was that? I think that was a Monday. And we had that tornado around St. Joe. It was at the top of a bow echo, and that's where you get the greatest spin. Now, the area of low pressure responsible for this in the upper parts of the atmosphere, you can see it does weaken a little bit as it heads into Wednesday morning. And again, into Wednesday afternoon, where does that cold front end up? That's attached to that area of low pressure that decides where that next round is going to develop. Again, I think it's going to be over the Ozarks. So our severe threats for the first round, think tomorrow afternoon into the evening. Moderate to moderate high for 60-mile-per-hour gusts, 1-inch hail. Kind of low for a chance for tornadoes, but not zero. And as we head into that second round, that line of thunderstorms, you can see everything kind of tapers a little bit. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, we're kind of on the moderate edge. 1-inch hail, we're kind of low to moderate. Tornadoes, lower, but again, not zero in that respect. Potential rain, look at this, 1 to 3 inches. And again, this is through Wednesday morning. And the greatest amount of that rain's coming in during the overnight hours. And that's why we have to be very vigilant Wednesday morning. All right, so that's the severe threat. Now, there's one other part to this 7-day forecast that gets very interesting. We have a nice day on Wednesday, most of us. Okay, the farther north you are, the nicer it's going to be, the farther you are away from that cold front. But then, wow, summer starts Friday. Astronomically, it's the summer solstice. And we're going to see our first 90 of the year. I feel pretty confident of that. And I feel confident we'll stay in the 90s Saturday and Sunday. In fact, those 90 to 91 may be a little conservative. We could be around 92 to 93. But right now, we're just feeling confident that we're going to get to 90 for the first time this year. The thing I want you to remember, the item that's going to be most impactful for you, weekend warriors, are the heat index values, possibly triple digits for the first time this year also, Friday, Saturday, and almost Sunday. So, you know, we've been in the air conditioning, most of us, all week. Then we want to go out and play, and our body's going to be like, whoa, what is this? And make sure you just drink plenty of fluids and find some shade. All right, let's get to the Security Bank 7-day forecast and wrap this all up in a nice little bow. 88 this afternoon. That 20% you see for late, that's more after midnight through the morning commute. First warn weather day for Tuesday, 60% confidence that we're going to experience severe weather. Watch the temperature. If the morning storms keep our temperature a little bit lower and that warm front has a hard time moving in, the threat will drop a little bit, but right now it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. 30% Wednesday, that is again southeast of us. Most of us are feeling pretty nice in 83. And then look at all of that heat coming in. And the thing you want to notice is the reason why we're going to likely see or possibly see triple-digit heat index values. Look at those overnight lows. Saturday morning, we start at 75. Sunday, we start at 74. That means the dew points for all you weather enthusiasts out there are going to be in the low 70s to mid 70s. There's going to be so much humidity in the air those days. So even if we only reach 90 to 91, the heat index value is still going to be extraordinarily warmer in what it feels like on your body. All right, that's your update for now. Of course, we'll be back on the television at 3:30, and come on back. We'll have more updates here on social media as we head through the afternoon and into the evening hours. Have a great day.